Hi guys, so I'm starting off by having a biscuit and a cup of tea. Jumping straight in, I'm going to be taking the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. This is in the shade Light Medium, and I'm just placing this all over my eyelid. Then I'm just taking a MAC 252 flat shader brush, and I'm going to be packing this concealer down, and I'm just going to be carving around my brows with it, and then using this as an eyeshadow base for the eyeshadow that we are going to be applying in just a second. So I'm just tapping the concealer, as this will really help to lock it down in place just so it doesn't budge, but I will be going over this with the eyeshadow anyway just to lock it down even more. But this concealer does dry sort of a semi matte. I'm going to be using MAC Uninterrupted as the first eyeshadow, so I just tap over the concealer once more, then I start to apply the shadow with a Morphe brush. This is the Morphe M505, and as you can see, the pigmentation of this shadow was really lacking on this day. I don't know why, because I never normally have problems with it. Maybe it's because I was using a darker concealer, so I just used this other shade from a Morphe palette, and as you can see, this worked a lot better. This was like a mustard tone, a bit sort of deeper than Uninterrupted, but I really liked this. And then I take this sort of brick red shade from the same Morphe palette. This was the Morphe 350. If you remember, it was a really good sort of autumn palette, and I think it always will be because of the colours in it. So I'm just applying this red shade to the outer corner of my eye, and then I'm going to be taking the Morphe M5, I cannot remember the name of this palette, but I will link it down below, and I'm just going to be taking this warm brown shade from this palette, and I'm going to be applying this onto my outer corner as well, merging it in with that red shade and just blending that in. I'm going to be taking it on a smaller brush just to add the detail, and then I'll be blending it out with the same Morphe blending brush, the sort of bigger brush, just to blend all the shades together and to get rid of any harsh lines and just make it really nicely smoked out. Then I'm going to be taking this really nice sort of bronzy goldy sort of tone from the same palette, and I'm going to be taking this on a MAC 242 flat shader brush, and I'm going to be applying this all over my lid. As you can see, I'm just applying it in packing motions, as this is the best way to apply shades like this, with that sort of like metallic-y sort of finish to it, or shimmery finish. To add a bit of pop to the lid, I'm going to be taking my Doll Beauty highlighter. This is in the shade Shine Bright, and I'm going to be just applying this to the center of the lid, and just to make it sort of more of that sort of two-tone effect. Then what I'm going to be doing is just taking a wipe and cleaning up any sort of fallout from below my eye from the shadows. I'm just going to be now applying some of the Primark Strobe Cream. This is really good. I wouldn't say it's as good as the MAC Strobe Cream, but it gives you a nice sort of like dewy base to work with. For foundation, I'm going to be using the EX1 foundation. This is in the shade 8, and this is a perfect match for my tan. The blender that I'm actually going to be using today is by Superdrug, and this is honestly like a life changer. I don't believe how much it was, because I did receive it as a gift from my mum for my birthday, but it is, I would say, a lot cheaper than the Beauty Blender, and it works just as well. It's actually a little bit bigger as well, which I find really helpful. So I'm just patting that foundation in with the sponge, and I then will be moving on to concealer. For concealer, I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow Concealer. This one is in 02 Creamy Natural, and this concealer I'm just applying onto my forehead, underneath my eyes, my chin, and a bit on my nose, and then I'm just going to be blending this in with the same sponge. I'm then going to apply a little bit more concealer underneath my eyes, as this concealer is a very sort of thin consistency. It does have nice coverage, but it's not like a full coverage. This is more when you're going for that sort of like dewy sort of skin finish, I would say. I wouldn't say this is a very like full coverage concealer like the Tarte one, so I just apply a little bit more for a bit more coverage. Then for powder, I'm going in with the Collection a sheer loose powder, I believe this is in the shade Translucent. I'm going to be applying that to my forehead, underneath my eyes, my chin, my nose, anywhere I sort of tend to get oily, and also just to set the foundation and the concealer. For powder, I use the Maybelline Fit Me powder just to add a bit more sort of coverage around my face. I then did add some bronzer, and the bronzer I used was the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, but for some reason my camera did not pick up on the clip. I've lost the clip, so maybe I didn't press record, but I did apply bronzer. I then applied the Primark brown, I can't remember if this is a lip pencil or eyebrow pencil or just an eyeliner, but I did use it as an eyeliner in my waterline. It's this really nice dark chocolate brown, and with this eyeliner I just apply that in the waterline. For blusher I use the MAC Petal Power blush. This is really nice as it has a really nice sheen to it, so it really goes well when you're applying highlighter on top. For highlighter, I'm applying the Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy highlighter. This is one of my favorites, and I'm just applying that everywhere I would usually highlight and just adding a bit more onto my cheekbones just to make them pop. For lip liner, I'm using Barry M Toast, which is my favorite all-time lip liner, and it's about £4, so you really can't go wrong. And for lipstick, I'm going to be using the Jamie Genevieve lipstick by MAC, and this is just the perfect nude. So this is the finished look. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Take care. Bye.